Hey.
Morning.
Oh,
Afternoon, or whatever it is.
sorry, I forgot I changed the camera angle. Forgot to change it back. How is Lee doing?
She's in therapy twice a week now, and she's getting more range of motion. Still no weight on it. Stitches are out. She gets her cast off, her temporary splint in 3 weeks, something like that.
Yeah.
And then it's just therapy after that.
Will they start adding a little weight on very slowly, and
Yeah, at some point. Yeah.
yeah. So what range of motion, different.
Yeah, different this,
Yeah.
and then this, and because they cut you open from here to here, and then they spread it like that, and then they shove this
Oh.
plate in there, and then they close it all back up.
Oh. Wow.
That's not that's not the worst. One of my neighbors, he's in his 80s, and he and his wife, he went to bed, and his wife, for some idiot reason, opened up the front door to let the dogs out, and she went out onto the porch, slipped, went down the stairs, across the driveway into the water fountain,
Oh my God.
and he was asleep.
Yeah.
So the dogs finally came back in and woke him up, and he had to call the EMT guys from Coburg, and they got out there, and they were able to bundle her up and get her in the house. But the fire truck slid down his driveway and crashed into his garage. And then it was hours before the first ambulance couldn't make it. They didn't have chains. Second ambulance had chains, and then she spent like 3 days in the hospital, and she had a concussion. She's okay
Wow.
now, but man, it was touch and go there for a bit.
Yeah. That's pretty nasty.
So I'm driving Lee back and forth to the hospital that same day.
Yeah.
It was nuts.
Wow.
So yeah, she's doing better.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear it. How's her spirit?
Getting better. She did finally admit that she thinks she might have had a small concussion from hitting, because she went bam like that, and her
Yeah.
spine was all compressed, and you know
Oh.
she's hit her head a few times with the dogs. So and she's getting better now. She's not forgetful,
Wow.
So
Wow. That's intense.
yeah, it's kind of tough to get old there, buddy.
That's what I hear.
Meanwhile, I'm walking the dogs 2 times a day and rowing, and I'm exhausted.
Well, maybe are there any young kids around in the neighborhood?
What, to walk the dogs?
Yeah, need a job.
Yeah, they don't. They're kind of no. In fact, one of my neighbors got a dog and then had to give it up because his kids wouldn't walk it.
No, bad. That's bad. Rand, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Good. Rand is always so even keel. How's Minnie?
She's a bit upset, but she'll be okay.
Oh, she's upset. All right. Why is she upset?
That's the million-dollar question, I think.
Ah, okay. Well, she's a woman, right?
Yeah, she wants food, but not in the way that you present it to her. So you have to understand why.
Yes. Yeah. So it'll just be like that the rest of her life, right? Okay, let's. Last time, what did we work on? Did we move? Did we work on move number three?
We went out to move number 4, and this week you said we were going to look at the XINYI and the NEIGONG.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Okay. All right. XINYI NEIGONG. In the first move, for for many folks that are doing the first move in old Chen style, Chen village Chen style, The first move looks like this. All right? It's very simple. And what that is basically is just um, coming up and then coming down on someone's arms and pressing them down. So I'm going to ask you guys to see whether you got this. What are the two major energies of the 13 energies? What are the two major energies in the first move, if you think of it that way? Yes, Kevin.
Pung on.
That's right. Pung and on. So that should tell you something right there. If someone comes in, and they might even just grab you by the arms, right? One way to deal with that is pung, you come up. And depending on the person, they may not be able to stop you from doing that. So you come up, you circle over their forearms, and then you press down. Right? You don't press down with your hands. You press down with your core. So the core sinks. Right? So let's all try that. Pong, on. Pong, on. Pong, on. Now, the truth is, all four of the energies are there. Those are the two most important ones. So whenever you are making a circle, you're going to have all four energies, but the proportions are going to change. So, right, maybe it's 40% Pong, 40% on, 10% Lu, and 10% Qi. Right? So watch, and I'll show you the Lu. Pong, Lu, on, Qi, Qi. Pong, Lu, on, Qi. So on, you're going to be sinking in the quad especially. Not in the knees. The knees are going to go down a little bit, but that's not the major focus of the sink. The major focus is in the quad. So the hip joints sink. And a way to think about that is you're sinking dantian into the quad and the quad into the feet. All right? Sink from the dantian to the quad to the feet. Not this, it's this, right? Because even though I'm on a diet and I'm down to 236, 236 is a lot harder to deal with than just someone's arms. So you want to use your whole weight. Okay, that's for the kind of normal Chen style, and actually the other styles of Tai Chi kind of do it that way too. So if you'll see a lot of people do the first move like that, and that's what they're doing. One of the reasons the first move is both functional and ceremonial. So it's kind of a gateway between the outer matrix world and the inner Tai Chi world. So it's a liminal space, right? And that's why people do it very slowly. especially the sinking, so that it goes all the way down to the bottom of your feet. One of the worst mistakes you can make in Tai Chi is only go down part way. Even if it's 90%, you think, well, 90%, that's good enough. Now I'm gonna run on. No, you got to touch the ground again. And it's not physical, it's mental and energetic. Right? So, yeah, what you do is you listen inside to your own flow of energy. Right? And yeah, it's going down, going down, going down. Oh, boom. There it's just touched the ground. Okay, now I can go on. Because what you're doing is bouncing off the ground. So if you haven't touched the ground, why do the bounce? Right? You wait with your physical body until you feel the bounce. Boom! Then your physical body goes on. This is a really, really important practice, and it's really why Tai Chi form is done so slowly, is so that you have time to listen inside and feel when the energy, boom, pops, pop, pop. You can feel it. Because your timing, it's really important that your timing be correct. You can't be ahead of your own energy, and you can't be behind it. You've got to be one with it. And that's actually very easy, which makes it really hard. All right? It's not hard to do. When you do it right, it's not hard to do. All right? You have to be patient. You have to pay attention. And you think, well, why is that so important in Tai Chi? Well, Tai Chi is a martial art, and it's the martial art that uses perception of the energy flows, yin and yang, to give you an advantage and to guide what it is you're doing. So it's not just that you have to listen to your own energy touching the ground or not touching the ground. You have to listen to your opponent's energy touching the ground or not touching the ground. And if you can't do it for yourself, you're not going to be able to do it for your opponent. So suppose somebody, so you're pushing hands with somebody, boom, and they come in, they put their hands on your arms and kind of give you a shove. Rather than fight them, there's other things you can do. You maybe turn a little bit, but you're going to absorb that energy. You're going to let it pass through you. Suppose somebody's got a bat, right? And they're just going to bat you with this thing. Here comes this big strong thing. Do you want to try to intercept it in the middle of the swing? Or would you like him to get done with the swing so the swing is depotentiated and then you deal with it, all right? So this is what I mean about timing. The guy comes in and he pushes you. Your energy is going to go backward and it's going to go down to the ground. And it's going to be fairly quick. So you want to listen to it and you want to hear when it hits the ground. Because that's your signal for the counterattack. Yeah, Kevin.
So I've been playing around with trying to get my feet rooted. You know, you can, when you stand, your feet kind of feel funny and you use them anyway. But if you can get them to root, then things start to feel different. And I'm assuming you're rooted all the time when you're taking the energy to the ground, or does it, you're sort of moving and then you root simultaneously?
Well, it kind of depends, doesn't it? You know, if the guy kind of throwing you back, you may not have perfect footwork, right? For your practice, you can practice tiger paws. You know what tiger paws are?
Yep.
Using your toe and your heel to grab into the ground and get a feeling for that. Um, if some guy's energy comes in, you've got three options to deal with it in a counterattack. The counterattack can be launched before his energy hits you, or it can be launched at the same time he launches it, you launch yours, or you launch yours after his comes through. Most, and it just depends on the situation. In this one, we're talking about the guy has already come in and launched an attack on you. Okay, so, but we're in the third one, right? And this can happen very quickly, right? He launches an attack, boom. Slow it down. But in real life, it doesn't look like. It looks like boom. Right? You can absorb it and return it. Absorb it, hits the ground, and return it, right? Boom. Really, really quick. It just takes practice. And that's essentially what you're doing in the classic first move. All right. All right. How is the Hunyan? The Hunyan first move is an elaboration of that. All right. So Hong is the same. Lu is the same. An is the same. But the G is really accentuated. Hong, Lu, An, G. The Lu is accentuated too. Watch this exercise. Chest, lower back. Chest, lower back. Chest, lower back. Chest, lower back. Chest. So the Lu here is a version of the classic elbow exercise, only it's not really for the elbows. It's in this case, it's really for the upper wrist, right? You're pulling in, all right? Lu is created by turning your daimai. Right? Lu, Lu, Lu. But the daimai is not physical, it's energetic. So in fact, if you're doing on the right side and you're doing on the left side at the same time, they're going to cancel each other out physically. You're not going to see this do anything. It's just going to stay in the middle. But inside, the daimai is going in this direction and in this direction at the same time. If you've ever seen a kid play with a hula hoop, two hula hoops, and those that are good, can get two hula hoops going, one to the right and one to the left at the same time. They're going like this. How did they do that? They're using their daimai. They don't even know they're using their daimai, but they're using their daimai. They're creating two energy patterns, one circling to the right and the other circling to the left at the same time. And that's what you're doing. So why are you doing that? Well, let's say someone comes in on you like this, which is actually a very frequent thing to happen, is they come in for your shoulders, or worse, they come in for your neck or your face. So what you do is you come up underneath their elbows. You come in underneath their elbows and you pull them in. Not with your arms. I mean, yes, with your arms, but not with your arms, with your trunk. Right? Watch this. Watch the Tanjong point. Right? That movement of the trunk is much stronger than trying to just move your shoulders and your arms. It's stronger for two reasons. One is it's a bigger joint. My trunk is much bigger than my arms. Right? In. Secondly, it leaves your hands free. So your hands can stay soft because you're really using your forearms to pull this guy in. Now, when I say you're pulling him in, he's already coming in. If he's not coming in, don't try this. Right? It depends on his energy coming in your direction. He's coming like this. If he's not doing that, then don't do it, because he'll clobber you. Okay? So you wait until he's coming in. So when he starts like this, don't back away from him. Right? Instead, when he starts, you move a little bit toward him. You move toward him a little bit, half a step, so that you can back up again. So this is a big circle. Pong Liu. And now you're going to reroute, you are going to count down, so that's the defensive side, that's the yin side. Yin, right? Sink, and then counterattack. Sinking is preparing for the counterattack. So you want your chi to drop back down to your danqian and then all the way to the ground. And now chi, push, squeeze, push. Right? In our version of this, you push with the fingertips. And there's lots of places that you can strike with the fingertips, but kind of the one we're going for is the solar plexus. Right there. Watch. Watch my hands. Have you ever taken a blow to the solar plexus, Kevin?
Yeah, that little where your red dot is called that notch in your rib cage is called the xiphoid process.
Right.
Right, directly underneath it is your heart.
Yes.
And that will do some damage.
Yes. Ran, have you ever taken a shot to the solar plexus?
Not that I recall. Maybe as a kid.
If you had, you would recall it. Trust me. You would definitely recall it. Have you guys both seen? I've got a video of a demonstration of I don't think this guy is a Tai Chi person, but he's demonstrating what happens to an MMA fighter when he takes a shot to the solar plexus. Rand, have you seen that?
I think so.
Yeah, it's devastating. It will absolutely take you out. Right? Now, this guy was ready for it, but the truth is there's nothing here to really protect your. There's no ribs. There's no real muscle either. Well, you can do it to yourself. You can feel it. Anyway, so that's right. That's one. And you literally can do this with two fingers or one finger if you want. A second way to do it, much more friendly, is just to push the guy out of the way. Right? So you just use open palms. Now we use fingertips, but you could just do open palms, or you can do fists. And the fists go into the breast, so the fists can certainly be um, disconcerting. They can definitely knock somebody down, but unless you mean to, they're probably not going to kill them. But you get somebody in the solar plexus, you might actually kill them, depending on how you actually hit them. Right? Okay, so that's the first move in the first form. Palm, Lu, on, Chi. So one of the things that could tell you is I'm going to do this bending forward a little bit so you can see. Watch my hands. It's not this. It's this. Right into the solar plexus. Okay, second move, or second part of the first move. All right. Relax. Just relax. Can always do. I should have said this at the beginning. Almost every single part of the form can actually be used for lots of different things. It's really about invention and creation and innovation, right? So when I give you a martial application, some of them are, right? Yeah, well, that's elbow to heart, okay. But it could be elbow to somebody's knee for that matter. But it's always basically the same thing. But many of them have just unbelievable number of applications to them. So I'm going to just pick one that's simple, straightforward, and it gives you something to hang on to. And then in your own career, as you go along, you can pick up additional ones, right? But at least you've got one to go on. Relax. Okay, so what's that about? That's actually an energy called psi, which means to pluck. And the example Master Zhang always gave was you're in an apple orchard and you pluck an apple out of the tree, right? You pull it, pull. So this is a version of that. you think of plucking as like grabbing something and pulling, and lots of times it is, but sometimes you might just hang your hands over someone's shoulders and just pull them down like that. That's really what's going on here. You're coming up over someone's shoulders and then pulling them down. So the first thing you do, in fact, let's complicate this a little bit. Let's say you've gotten done with this, and then somebody grabs your wrists. Sink. Sink and touch the ground. Sink and touch the ground. Now come up. Where are you coming up? Coming up the Dumai in the back. Right? Come up the Dumai in the back. That's the force that's coming up in a big circle, not your arms. If you try to do this with your arms, now you and the other guy are going to be struggling with this stuff. Instead, you come up in your back, and it's like you're a giant wave. Right? And then you can really, even though he's got hold of your arms, you can lift his arms because you've got your whole trunk behind it. And then you just drop down onto his shoulders. Boom. Now, when I'm dropping down onto his shoulders, I'm probably not grabbing them. I'm probably just coming, so his shoulder is here, and I just drape my hand and wrist over. And I might use the tip of my fingers to come in like that a little bit. Right? When you do this in real life, you usually step back. Right? So that your weight gets involved in this. We don't step back here, but you should practice it a few times stepping back so you feel what that feels like, and even though you don't actually step back, you've still got that feeling. Oh. And then at the very end of this, you sink. Right? Or I should say, from the time you touch his shoulders until the time this is done, you should be sinking and then really sink at the end. And then we're going to go right back to the first move again, a reverse Lee circle. Only this one is only going to come up to the solar plexus. The first one came up to the Tanjong. This one only comes up to the solar plexus. And you're done. All right? So, how many times do you sink when you do this move? One, two, three, four, five, six. Right? At the end of the first move, of our first move, which is right there, you sink twice. You sink once to finish the first move, and then you sink a second time to begin the second move. So, sink, sink again, boom. Maybe sink, wind up, and go. That might make more sense. Rayan, is this making sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. The third little circle here, um, you can think of it in a million different ways, but it's the same circle: Hung, Lu, On, Chi. So it might just be somebody grabs your wrist. One of the effective ways of dealing with someone's energy when they're attacking you is when they're attacking you, they're usually coming in from the side. Sometimes with a little up to down, but mostly from the side. So even if they come and they grab your wrists, they're on the side. So what you do, one of the things you do in preparation to do a counterattack is change the angle of their attack. So they grab your arms, right? It'll do two things. One, it'll change the angle of their attack. So instead of the line of attack coming at you, now suddenly it's going down to the ground. All right. Second thing, it will discombobulate them because they just, instead of doing what they wanted to do, suddenly they're doing what they don't want to do, and they don't know why they're doing it. Right? It's easy. It's relatively easy to do that because you're using gravity. So when someone's attacking you like this, they're not using gravity, and they're probably using the strength in their arms. And if they're not well trained or not trained at all, their chi will all be out in their arms. So in fact, they won't have any grounding. It's all out here. And they're probably even leaning forward and they're looking forward. So you take that, suddenly you push it down like that. And what many people will do is pull back. Right? He grabs, boom, and he starts to pull back. That's when you counterattack. When you feel their attack start to change into a retreat, that's when you counterattack. And there's another example of having to really hear their energy, because you don't want to counterattack 20 minutes after they start to retreat. In fact, you don't even want to make it a second after. You want to follow them so closely you're like a shadow. Why? Well, because they won't be able to react. They won't know what the hell's going on, you know. Boom, suddenly they're down. Boom, suddenly you're there. Boom, and they just make one little motion to go back. Boom, and you're on them. It's instantaneous. The only way to do that is practice. Practice with a good push hands partner, and develop your tingen, your ability to hear this. It's subtle. It's subtle, but it's not like the alarm on a clock. But if you pay attention, you can see. Have you ever seen this happen with a clock? So this is a little clock that I keep here. And it's run on a battery. But at some point, I mean, this battery will last for a couple of years, but at some point, the battery will run down so low that the second hand will stop moving, right? But what happens at first is the second hand will try to move and then it'll click back. Try to move and click back. Boom, 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 boom. It'll go like that. Have you ever seen that happen? Ram has, right? You have to be so sensitive you can hear that in somebody's body. That little forward and back, forward and back. Oh. The difference between forward and back is the difference between yang and yin. You don't attack somebody when you counterattack someone. That's yang. Your energy is going out to do something to them. You don't want to use your own yang energy when they are in a yang phase, because then it's just yang against yang. And then it's just a matter of, who's younger, faster, stronger. The whole point of Tai Chi is to get around that by being smarter. I don't counterattack on someone until they shift back to yin. What is yang energy? Yang energy is energy coming out. Yin energy is energy coming in. When someone switches from yang to yin, and then I pile on top of them, that's when they're vulnerable. Now, you may only literally have a split second for a counterattack. So let's say they grab, pop. They're probably, for a split second, they're going to signal that they're a little discombobulated, and that they're withdrawing a little bit. They're drawing their energy back in. This literally may only take 1/10 of a second. So you've got 1/10 of a second to hear it and to take advantage of it. All right? Boom, boom. Yeah, Kevin.
I think one advantage of hearing it is that you know it's going to happen.
Yeah, most of the time, if they are really well trained, it may not happen. But a really well trained person is like 1 out of a million. So for most people, they have no idea what you're doing and why you're doing it. So again, if they grab your wrist, the first thing, do tiny little pump, tiny little lube, and then a big and fast on. Boom. It almost looks like it's just on, but it's not. It's pump. You come up a little into their grip, and then roll it backward, and now take it down. When you do that, be listening. If you don't hear them, the difference between yang and yin is like somebody turning the light off in a room. And it's going to be this fast. You have to take advantage of it. You have to hear that and be ready to move. And also be ready not to do anything if you're not in the right position and they don't give you the opportunity. Da gi da shi. Only when you are in the right position and only when they give you the opportunity do you try something. Otherwise, just don't do anything. Watch boxing matches, and look for boxers who actually know what they're doing. Really good artists, not just, I'm a giant machine, right? But what really good people do, including guys like. Who am I thinking of, Kevin?
Depends on what era. Ali?
No, after Ali, black guy.
Fisher? Foreman?
What? No, not George Foreman. Anyway, doesn't matter.
Sugar Ray?
No. Connie's the guy. He was the monster that killed everybody for years.
Tyson? I saw a clip of Ali hit a guy 12 times in a little over a second.
He was amazing when he was young. Anyway, if you are aware of what the other guy's energy is doing, coming out or going in, you have a huge advantage. And that's what the whole first move is about. All right? Bring it in, counterattack. Bring it in, counterattack. Bring it in, counterattack. All right, 1, 2, 3. All right, so this makes sense. Do you understand everything? The only way to truly understand this is to mess around physically, because you have to find this in your body. But once you find your ability to do this in one thing, it'll transfer over to the other things too. Okay, guys, I need to go get a little lunch. I'm still recovering from we had our second shingles shot 2 days ago.
How fun was that?
It didn't hit me very hard. I felt a little down yesterday, but not too bad. But it hit Miss Annie really hard. And the first shingle shot we had was awful. The second one, everybody said the second one is worse, so I was like, ugh. But I don't know, seemed okay. We had a what did Annie call her? Oh, we had a boss nurse. And she came in there, take her shirt off, pinches it, Sam, boom, okay, you're done. Next. And it's like, okay, she was really good. I didn't even feel the needle. It was like, she was like, okay, you're done. Get out of here. Okay. That's what I like. None of this messing around, right? Just get it done. Okay, guys, we'll go on to the XINYI. Maybe we'll do a little work tomorrow on the NEIGONG for the first move. What it is you need to develop now that hopefully you understand the mental preparation, some of this. Then you have to your energetic and your physical body have to be ready for this and prepare for this. So we'll work a little bit on that and then work on the second move. Okay, guys, have yourselves a great day. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Ciao.